Hey friends, welcome to the 48th episode of the Sunday Knitting Society podcast. My name is Chelsea and I'm a knitter in Oklahoma City. If you're new here, welcome, and if you're coming back, welcome back. Hope you guys have had a good 2 weeks. I've had a doozy of 2 weeks. Some good, some not. There's a lot of crazy. But I've got some knitting. I've been spinning for the Tour de Fleece, and I just finished up all of my spins for that yesterday. And I've had cast-on-itis, and I've bought some stuff. So I am less than 2 weeks away from flock, and I'm so excited, and I have lost all summer knitting mojo. I do not have any desire to knit with linen, cotton, or anything summer weight. I don't want to knit any tank tops. I think part of the problem is, like, I'm just wearing a regular tank top because, like, today isn't too bad, but we are supposed to hit the 100, like, they keep fluctuating. We're going to be, like, high 90s to 100s all week. And that's just gross. I don't really want to wear knits. I don't care how summer friendly they are. They're just not summer friendly. So, yeah. So I've been craving all the woolly things. So it is what it is. Yeah, I've got a lot. I started collecting all the things and I kept finding more and I was like, oh, we have a lot. So let's see. I honestly don't know where to start. Let's do like a little life update, I guess. I don't know. So 2 weeks, like right when I podcasted last time, my mom and I had gone up to Wichita to the Hand Weavers Guild of America conference, which was really fun. My mom was, so it was small, but it was still there, and it was very weaving heavy. So it was the Hand Weavers Guild, so it makes sense. But there were a few yarn dyers and sellers, but not loads of them. And my mom was overwhelmed, and I was like, ooh, Seattle's gonna be fun for you. But it was really nice. It was fun. And I did buy myself a spinning wheel. I got the Ashford Kiwi. I don't know if it's a Kiwi 3. That's what everybody keeps calling theirs. I don't know the difference in the different Kiwis. There actually weren't a lot of spinning wheels up there, which I was kind of surprised about. But I ended up buying mine from the Eugene Textiles group. They had a booth, and they were so friendly and so helpful. And they had 3 different spinning wheels there, and I loved the Ashford. I tried the Shocked Ladybug, and I'm sure if I had spent more time with it, I could figure it out and I would probably love it. But just as a beginner on a spinning wheel, or traditional spinning wheel, the treadle, like, I could not get it to go even. It was very stop start. I just didn't, and that may have been settings too, I don't know. But she let me try that one first, and then she could see I was kind of struggling with it, and so she gave me the Ashford, and it was like, it clicked. It was just so nice. And I don't even think I tried. I did try later on, so I'd already bought mine, but I went by the Louette booth and I did try theirs, and theirs is nice as well. I think there were also some Kromskis, but not like, there's one Kromski to try, maybe more than that, but I didn't end up trying that one. The Kromski that I saw was pink, and I was very tempted at first, and then I thought, let's chill out. We're not shopping for color. These are not tennis shoes. we are shopping for what fits best with us. So I ended up getting the Ashford Kiwi. Her name is Agnes because I name everything. And I love her. I really thought there would be a huge learning curve, just because I'm used to an e-wheel where you don't have to pedal, and I don't use the foot pedal with my e-spinner. I just turn it on and off, and you adjust the speed, but it can kind of sometimes get a little boring, I think, whereas with the traditional with my Ashford, it just feels like you're just, the whole body's involved in knitting the yarn, or not knitting, spinning the yarn. I don't know, it's just a really nice feeling. And mine actually does the foot pedals fold up, and so it can actually take up like a very, very small footprint, which is nice. And it's very light. I think it's like 10 pounds. So it's easy to move around my house, which I'm still kind of figuring out the best spot for it, because normally I knit, and then if I use the e-spinner, I sit on my couch and I do that, but my couch is too short. My couch is really too short for the e-spinner because I end up having horrible posture, but I just power through and then pay for it the next day. But with with needing to treadle, I have to have a chair that's the right height. And the only one in my house that is actually the correct height is is a desk chair that I don't know why I've kept over the years. I don't use it. An ex-boyfriend bought it for me, and when we broke up, I was like, I'm not giving this back. I kept it. It's from IKEA, so it's not like super expensive, but it's like the perfect height. So I just have been like, I don't know, I need a better spinning spot, but I don't have one, so I'm just gonna make do, and it's fine. But yeah, so I've been spinning a lot. I finished the Tour de France. Oh, the one I wanted won. I'm not gonna say just in case you're behind, although you're now a whole week behind. I loved it. I watched the entire ending. It was so sweet. I love all the celebration at the end. And I'm actually looking forward to watching some cycling with the Olympics this year. I just started watching the opening ceremony. I got home a little bit later yesterday, and I thought, okay, I'm gonna watch it. And I have Peacock, and if something is live, Peacock will only let you rewind so far, and it wouldn't let me rewind to the beginning. And so I kept checking back, and this opening ceremony must be like 8 hours long or something. I don't know, whatever, but I just never could get it to let me start at the beginning, so I started it this morning. But anyway, okay, also this morning I mowed my lawn, and the last time I mowed my lawn, I must have left the gate open, or I left something open, and Linus escaped twice. The second time he escaped, the first time I saw it happen, and I was like, grabbed him, put him back in the backyard, and then it happened a second time, and I could not figure out how he got out. I was like, he can't jump. I know he can't jump. He's not very athletic. He's very chubby. Couldn't figure out how he got out, but he was outside for 15 minutes and just stayed across the street in my neighbor's yard, just sniffing everything, very happy. So this time when I mowed the lawn, they stay in the backyard with me when I mow, and I made sure everything was latched and locked, and I get done with the backyard, and Lolly is sitting there, and she's kind of got that look about her that like, Linus did something he wasn't supposed to do. And so I called for him, he didn't come. I called for him, he didn't come. And I thought, oh my gosh, that turd, he got out again, and I don't know how he got out. And so I went and ran to the front yard, couldn't find him. So then I thought, okay, maybe he's in the garden, maybe he's hiding in the backyard, and he's being a turd. Couldn't find him. And Lolly was freaking out. So I grabbed a bag of dog treats and got my keys and went and drove around the neighborhood. And I mean, I drove quite a ways. I drove out to like the main street that goes by my neighborhood, could not find him. And I was starting to panic, and I'm thinking I need to check like the neighborhood Facebook group, see if anybody's found him. They don't have tags because they chew them off of each other, but they are microchipped. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a nightmare. And also, if he sees another dog, he's gonna freak out and probably run away crying. So I get back home thinking, okay, I just need to like regroup and like search again, make sure he's not actually in the yard or something, because he has never run off and gone far. So I have like a makeshift door between my laundry room and my garage that's basically like a piece of wood held in place by a bungee cord. And it's tight. And that little chubby dude figured out how to wedge his body in between that door. It opens this far. I don't know how he did it. But he was just sitting in the garage the whole time. I was in tears, freaking out, thinking he's gone, and the little turd's just sitting in the garage the whole time. Didn't bark, didn't cry, didn't make a sound when I call his name, nothing. Didn't try to get back out either. That's the thing, it's probably easier to get out, but he stayed. So, and he, of course, completely forgot about it as soon as I found him. He's just like, oh, Mom, here you are. But that was my morning. But yeah, when I get done, I'm probably just going to sit on the couch and watch the Olympics all day, because I've done all my errands. So let's get into some knitting. Okay, I have 2 FOs and 2 whips, 2 whips. And lots of other stuff. Some swatches. So both of these projects finished on my trip last weekend. So I had a work trip. I left on Thursday and got delayed, but not bad. Made it. So I was going to San Antonio, but I was being routed through Atlanta because I was flying Delta. Made it to my hotel later than I wanted to be, but fine. And while I was on the plane, I finished my April socks that now have hair. So this, I don't remember the dyer. I really don't. But I think they're really pretty. This is from the La Mercerie Year of Socks. I don't remember. I never remember what the club is called, but I think it's just Year of Socks. But this might have been the April colorway. I don't remember. But this is, my goal is to knit one pair of socks a month for the year. I just finished April. I have not started May. So there's that. But I really like these. I think these, I don't remember what the name of this colorway was, but I think it looks like Monet's Water Lilies. But I finished these on the way out. Or maybe I finished them, I might have finished them on the way back on my first flight. I did. Yes, I finished these on the flight back. And then, so I went back through Atlanta, and I got to the San Antonio airport at 5 a.m. and I have clear, which I have not regretted it once. It was kind of an impulse thing because I was going to miss a flight and I had to get clear to not miss my flight. And I have no plans of getting rid of it. But I get to San Antonio and the line for general TSA has to be 3 hours long. And my flight was at 7. I got there at 5 and I was like, but the clear line was like 2 people in front of me. So I got through and had time to finish this on my first flight. And then I got to Atlanta and everything was delayed. So I wasn't in the airports during the worst of the cloud strike outages. That was actually Friday and I came back on Saturday. But I sat at the gate in Atlanta for 6 hours. Yeah, 6 hours waiting for my flight. We had a pilot and a co-pilot. We were missing flight attendants. Then we got 2 flight attendants out of the 3 we needed. And then our co-pilot timed out. We had to get a new co-pilot. And then our pilot timed out. We had to get a new pilot. And then finally the 3rd flight attendant arrived to applause from everyone waiting. But while I was sitting there, I made, well, I finished one entire mitten. So this is the Arched Gusset Mitten by PurlSoho. I love these. I've made so many of them. They're very, like, they don't make sense when you're knitting them. So, and somebody asked me if I have better mobility. I'd never thought of that before, but yes, you can see I've got good thumb mobility. I almost hacked these and did like knit to here and did a little bit of ribbing and then picked up and knit the rest to make it like a flap. But I've never done that before. I've never even read a pattern with that before. And I kind of felt like that could go bad. And I actually wasn't 100% certain I had enough yarn. So I finished this one. I finished the righty. Literally waiting for my plane, and started the second one before I boarded. And there was another knitter on my flight. I did not catch her name. But it was funny because she was knitting a very intricate brioche hat, which I'm very impressed with, but she was kind of off to the side, and I could hear somebody going, "What do you think she's making? Is it a sock?" And so I put it on and I showed them. I was like, "It's a mitten." But it was just kind of fun. I was like, I don't see a lot of knitters in the wild, so it's kind of fun. But one thing I've noticed, I always do this. Always do this. I always make one mitten tighter than the other. So this is tighter, and this was the one I knit when I was stressed. This one's looser. This is the one I knit when I got home or once I made my flight home. And I'm using, they're really comfy, so I'm just gonna keep them on. So this is what I have left. So this was yarn I got in Wichita. Oh gosh, let me see if I can remember the name. This was not the same yarn, but the booth was Winterstrom Ranch. And she was, I don't remember her name, but she was lovely. And she also sells this yarn, which is from Orchid Hill Fibers, I think. And I don't know where the tag is, but I remember it said like it didn't have a breed, it was just miniature sheep. So the fiber was all from miniature sheep, and the lady who was selling the yarn, she said that this farmer keeps his sheep impeccably clean, which I just thought was very interesting. So very well cared for sheep. But I love this color. I don't remember what they called it. But it is fairly rustic, and so it wasn't something I wanted to put on my head. And I thought this would make perfect mittens. I just think they're so fun. So why do mittens feel good to wear right now? That doesn't make sense to me. But yeah, you can kind of, well, you may not be able to see too well, but yeah, I always knit one tighter than the other. So those were the two things that I made during my trip. And then I came home and just had massive cast-on-itis. I want to knit everything, but I only want to knit the woolly things. I do not want to knit summer things. But I did make myself continue to work on the blanket for my friend's baby. And I am in the home stretch on this thing. So I have 4 segments left and I'm done. So look at it. This is the Tumbling Blocks blanket by PurlSoho. It's a free pattern. They use cotton. I'm using the Wandering Flock worsted in the Celadon colorway. And I just had to break into my 4th ball. So I had 3 balls that I had already purchased, and I realized I was gonna run out. So I bought 3 more. So here's how it comes. It's incredibly soft. It's like extra fine, yeah, superwash extra fine merino. It's 190 yards per 100 grams. So I have 2 more. I probably will have to touch into 1 more. So I just started my diamonds. So I'll do this diamond pattern, this spacing pattern, this diamond pattern, and one more space, and then I'm done. And this is just very squishy and nice. I will have to block it, which is going to be slightly a nightmare, but it's a small blanket because it's a crib size. But I don't like how this lays at the bottom, and I don't really feel like going back and adding on an I-cord, although I might. It might just lay better entirely if I do that. I don't enjoy adding I-cords on after the fact, but maybe I need to. So this is very nearly done. He is due at the end of August. So I need to get on that and get this finished and washed and blocked, because I'm going to be traveling a bit before he's born, and I want to make sure it gets there in time for him to come. So I'm just going to clear out things that we've talked about. Oh, dang it. Fell off the bed. Okay. So the next thing is annoying because I made a mistake. So this swatch I've shown before. This is a bow motif from this book, which is well, not entirely, but for all intents and purposes, entirely Japanese. But there's this really pretty vest. There it is in here that has this pattern. This is charted steeked, and I believe only comes in 2 sizes. I want to make this at some point, but I don't have it in me right now. I don't have the brain space to figure that out. So what I did was I used this book, which is Strange Brew by PetiteKnit. This is invaluable. They tell you, so I'm just going to give you a quick little snippet. I'm not going to give anything. I don't think this will give anything. I'm just going to flash it. You see that? Okay. So they break everything down. So they have sizes for 0 to 6 months through men's 4XL. They also give everything in Aran, DK, and sock weight, and they tell you what gauges and generally what needle sizes you would use. And then they break down based on a sweater. Like if these are the finished measurements, then this is what size you'll knit, this is what size all the different measurements on the sweater are going to be, and this is generally how much yarn you're going to need. Then they break it down into like how do you divide. So these are all round yoke. So how do you divide your yoke? Do you do the wedge method? I don't actually know what the other methods are. Do you do different methods? And then they also they give you recipes basically for top down and bottom up. And so you figure out your numbers, you go plug everything in, and basically this is what I ended up with. So I want to add that bow motif in a round neck top down sweater. So I had gauged, oh, I left my gauge swatch. Oh well, I thought I brought it up here, but maybe I didn't. Oh well. I had swatched for this, there it is. I knew I brought it up here. Okay, so I'd swatched with this yarn combo. Am I holding that? No, I'm holding it up the wrong way. Before, thinking I would make a different sweater. And the gauge wasn't quite right for that sweater, but it's very close to the gauge they give in PetiteKnit for the DK weight. And I really like this fabric. So I am using for this, I had to put it in a tote bag because I have had it on my couch, but it is the wrong color to put on my carpet. So I'm using some Holst yarn. This is super soft. Oh gosh, it is slate gray. So this is a cone I bought forever ago. And then I also bought some Holst Titicaca, which is 100% lace weight alpaca. and I don't remember the colorway name. I actually have some here, I think. Oh, it's like in such an awkward angle. There we go. So this is also slate gray. Okay, so I'm holding these two together, which does make it softer. One thing, if you've never knit with Super Soft by Holst, is it does not feel great to knit with, just in all honesty. It feels like it is just so fine. It feels like lace weight. It doesn't feel that soft. And then you wash it and it blooms. The spinning wheel is gone. It just feels much, much nicer. So, so this was my swatch. And this is my sweater so far. So I did almost like a 1 3/4 1x1 rib, and then I screwed up. And I did not realize it until I was so you do a setup round, an increase round, knit a certain distance, do a second increase, and then knit a certain distance. And when I finished that, so I skipped the first increase round. I thought that was the same as the setup round. It is not. So I should have like 50 more stitches on here than I do. And because of that, my motif will not fit. And I realized this problem at 10:30 last night, and it was dark, and this is not the kind of stuff you want to rip out when it's dark. So I figured I would do this today. I will probably get a sock needle and just go through and pick up, and then just rip out. This may not be very fun to rip out because of the alpaca, but like, look at the lace weight and the Holst. You kind of can't tell which is, well, you can kind of tell which is which, but not easy. But I'm also at a stopping point because this is about where I want to put the first of the bow motif, and I cannot decide what yarn I want to use for it. So I've got options, and I brought them with me. Oh gosh, this could create an avalanche. So I think I want to use Spin Cycle. That I might want to use hand spun, but I don't think I have any right now that would be a perfect, like would be what I want it to be. So these are my Spin Cycle options. That being said, this one I'm pretty sure I can't use because I think this was one of those mashups. It's Midsummer and Verba Volant, and I think I was using this for my shift again. So I think this actually cannot be used. Just put it up here. But I love that color. So then I had some Unicorn, which is Do You Knit's custom colorway. But I don't think I want so much purple. So I was kind of leaning away from that one. Then I've got a funky Ghost Ranch with a lot of green in it, but I don't think I want all that blue in it either. So I think I've ruled that one out. These are kind of the two I'm left with. So this is Every Rose. It does have a lot of green, but it's got some really pretty pinks and golds. And I think up against this would look really, it would really pop and look pretty. The only thing that I don't love the green in this. That's the one thing that I don't really want a chartreuse bow. So what I might do is I intentionally bought this skein because it was different from all the rest, and I thought it would have really good color shifting. And this is Moonbeams this is Moondrake's custom color. Now this does still have a lot of yellow and gold in it, but I like the pinks and the blues in here. But I'm not convinced on this one either. I thought about, I don't think I have any of this, but surely I do. I know I bought it, but I thought about using the La Mercerie colorway. I'm blanking on the name of it right now. Yeah, I can't think of the name, but it's the Spin Cycle color from La Mercerie. So I thought about doing that, but I almost wonder if that would be maybe too yellow. Like I would need to pick that out. I swear I thought I had some. Maybe I used it. Okay, I have to look now. Let's see. Oh no, I do have some. Oh, I have 2. Okay. I knew I had some. I knew I'd bought this. Okay. Ooh. I need to make sure I haven't used this for something, but I don't think I have. This might be. Oh, but that's too yellow. I don't know. It doesn't look that yellow in person, but it really is showing up yellow on here. I don't think that's what I want either. What I want is something that's like ballet pink, like very pale pink, but with some like changing. I want it to, I just need a pink, but without greens in it. But with like, I don't know. I need to, this would be actually a great thing to buy at Spin Cycle. I would like to continue knitting on this, and I'm kind of at a stopping point because I really can't go any further after I fix my mistake. I really can't go any further because I have to start that bow motif. So, and none of the stuff I've been spinning really, like I've shown this spin before. I don't think that's the right weight, but I also don't, like this is too blended. That's not going to color shift, and I want something that color shifts. Let's do that. There you go. So yeah, so I'm kind of at a standstill on that one once I fix my mistake, but we'll see. Oh gosh, there's so much stuff on this bed. But yeah, I'm enjoying it. Otherwise, I think it's going to be really pretty. This one, the way they so you do the short rows after the yoke, which I think is interesting. I've never actually done that before. But I'm glad now I don't have to rip back short rows. I just start over, honestly. Okay. So those 2. Okay. I'm gonna show you another swatch. This swatch is still pinned down, even though it's fully dry, because I am afraid to take it off. I'm afraid to unpin it. So I swatched for the new Andrea Mowry Rainback sweater. I swatched in the round and then cut, and I don't know what happened, but it started unraveling, which it's not supposed to do, but it definitely started to unravel. And it is not my neatest knitting. Like there's big gaps in here, but that's because I was knitting colorwork flat. Well, I was knitting it in the round, but it's really hard to maintain good tension when you've got like a band of yarn behind it. And I think my gauge was a little bit too big, which happens to me sometimes. I think Andrea is a tighter knitter than I am, and so I usually end up going down a size, but when I measured this, I was gonna have to go down like 3 sizes, which was weird. So I kind of wanted to like let this just sit for a minute and then come back. Plus I didn't have the needle size I needed. It was being used in the blanket. I have purchased a new one, so that problem is solved. But yeah, so I'm using Mini Moons. So I'm using the Spin Cycle, come on, Spinster's Daughter Worsted, which is the same base as Dream State, but dyed by Spin Cycle. Nope, dyed by Farmer's Daughter Fibers. And so Mini Moons is my main color, which is kind of a, I'm gonna be honest, when this arrived, I was like, I thought I was getting more of a beige, and it's very yellow toned, but I'm gonna go with it because I think it works with the rest. So this is my base color. I'm using, this isn't gonna balance. Let's put that down. I'm using Ghost Ranch Dream State as my, oh, I know what that is. Okay, let's show that. It's like, there's fluff everywhere. So I bought these at Moondrake because I was able to look at them and pick out 4 skeins that look similar. And then this is my frame color, which is Clay Dreaming. So this is what it's gonna be. This is one that I forgot. So this is all my yarn that I got from, well, this I ordered from Farmer's Daughter, and this I picked up at Moon Drake. And this was sitting on my kitchen table, and I thought I'd gotten everything to come up here and show you guys. And then I was like, oh, I forgot an entire sweater's quantity. But I might start that one today. Maybe just get through the ribbing and like just start the color work. It's very intuitive color work, and it's worsted weight, so it's gonna go quick, which is good because there is a part where I think where you have to do color work flat. I'm also probably gonna modify the sleeves because one of the things I've learned is that when you do color work and you make a really big, like a sleeve with no shaping on it, I don't like the fit of that. It just ends up making everything feel baggy. So I think I'm just gonna figure out how to hack the pattern to do a tapered sleeve. And it means that my patterning, my whatever, will not line up, and I'm okay with that because it's gonna be on the inside of your arm. So I think I'm gonna do that and then be good. But we'll see. Maybe I'll start that today since I can't work on the bow sweater. I love coffee so much. Okay. Then I did one other swatch last night that is also an acquisition. Because I'm not kidding, I have castonitis. I want to like not have to work so I can just knit. But it doesn't work that way. So I swatched with some alpaca from Sandus Garn. And I'll show you because I actually love the way they sent this, because they sent it to me in a little tote bag with it in there. So this, and what's funny is I thought, oh, I'm gonna try this new yarn. Actually, oh, I remember what happened. So on this last weekend, we had a lot of delays on the tarmac. And so we're on the plane like for hours, just sitting. In fact, at one point we were supposed to take off and we'd been so delayed, I actually had to open the window just to make sure we hadn't already taken off, and I missed it. But some of the planes had Wi-Fi, and not just like the crappy, you can only access a couple things Wi-Fi, like pretty good Wi-Fi, and it was free. And the tornado sirens are going off. It's Saturday at noon. They always do that. So I don't know how distracting that is. I don't know how well you guys can hear that. I'm gonna just power on. I'm sorry if this is an annoying sound to you. It's annoying to me as well. Anyway, so on one of my flights, I'd been sitting there for a while. I had Wi-Fi. And so I just started buying yarn. I had no business buying yarn. I have no business, but actually I bought the Farmer's Daughter worsted on one of the planes. I bought this yarn on one of the planes, and then I bought another yarn that's going to be here next week on the plane. So me Wi-Fi and nothing else to do is not a good thing. But anyway, so I bought this stuff. I don't know if you can see that. And this is, I think it's like the mustard colorway. I think that's what they called it, but it's number 2335. This is 100% alpaca. It's kind of a DK, I'd say it's a DK weight. How many yards? It is, does it say? It has to say 110 meters per 50 grams. So DK. But I bought this, and then I got home and realized I have another sweater's quantity in red. But that's okay. I bought enough of this to make a Sille slipover by PetiteKnit. I've been eyeballing this sweater or this vest for so long. I love the pattern on it. I had kind of like, I hadn't knit it yet because I read some of the reviews that the pattern is not all that intuitive, that there's some parts in it that are very confusing and maybe not well written, but I'm willing to give it a try. So I feel like I've knit enough vests at this point, or like tank tops at this point, that I can figure it out. But I also wanted to knit it in alpaca, which I might come to regret because alpaca is just drapey. But it also, from what I've heard, it does not pill. And I don't find it itchy at all, but it's warm. So it's like the best wool. Warm, not itchy, soft, drapey, no pilling. So, and I thought this would just be really fun to like put over like a button down for more professional outings, or if it's just like in the fall where it's not really cold, but it's just a little chilly. This would be a good layer. So I hit gauge, so I might start that today too. Who knows? I think that's my last almost whip. Drink some more water. This isn't water, this is coffee. And it's in my Disney Marathon Weekend mug. I picked this out this morning because it's the biggest mug I own. And that's what I needed this morning. Okay. I have some spinning show and tell, and then some acquisitions, and then I'm done. So I'm gonna do the spinning show and tell. So this I finished up this morning. I feel like I should show for reference. So this was the first yarn that I spun on my Ashford, and it is so fun. I'm actually a little bit annoyed I left this fiber for so long. It is very uneven. I'm okay with that, but the colors are just outrageously good. This was some superwash merino that I had as a club colorway from Nest, and I don't remember. It might have been called Fair Venus. I don't actually remember though. I had one bag of it. I had this and the next one I'm about to show just sitting downstairs, and so when I got my wheel I just picked this one. This in hindsight was not the best one to start with because merino has a short staple length and superwash is kind of slippery, and so when you're trying to figure out tension and how to get the right amount of fiber pinched out, all that kind of things, it was like I was like going so fast trying to like not have it rip it out of my hand. So that definitely took some figuring out, but this was the first one, and I was still, I will say, like the bobbins looked so messy and disorganized, and it looked like there were huge parts, and there are parts of this that are underplied and too thick and not really stable, but then it kind of balanced out when I applied it together. I mean, it still has kind of an art yarn look, but I'm actually quite proud of this. But I'm even more proud of my second attempt, and this is Targi, and I don't remember the colorway. This is also from a club color, but this is much more neat and thin and consistent. One of the things I find very interesting is my bobbins on my e-spinner never pack in really tight. So all the fiber is fairly loose on it. This packs in tight. This is like 2 ounces on this thing, and it's not even, I mean, it's probably half full, but I could easy peasy fit 4 whole ounces on this thing, which on my e-spinner, even though the bobbins are bigger, I struggle to fit 4 whole ounces on one. So I'm pleasantly surprised with this, and I like the little, they're just cute little wooden things. But yeah, so I just started doing the second ply this morning. I'll probably finish that next week and then ply it up, and by next weekend I'll have another skein of yarn. But it's really, really fun. I'm really enjoying this. Okay. So I think I've shown these before, but I'm just gonna run through my Tour de Fleece yarns because I'm proud of them. So this was, the rest of these were all done on my e-spinner. So this was some Rambouillet from Moondrake, and I've shown this before, but what's interesting about this is the yarn is truly one long fade. So it starts with the lighter colors here, and then it moves to the greens, and then it moves to the yellows, if I remember right. I think so, yeah. So I think I'm gonna knit Les Bandanas by La Bien-Aimée, because I can go from one end all the way to the other, although there's so many of these little scarves. There's one from Lamb and Kid, they have one as well. You could always do a Sophie scarf. This is a Sport DK, so but I'm looking forward to doing that. The other one I did, and this one is probably my proudest, maybe, I don't know. This was Hedgehog Fibers. This was one I've been holding on to for a long time because it was 120 grams, which is already grams? Yeah, 120 grams of 70% merino, 30% cashmere. And I have never spun a true fingering weight. I've tried so many times and I have not been able to, but this time I did it. This is a true fingering weight. The color is not necessarily my favorite, but I think when it gets knit up, I'll like it better. I have almost 500 yards, which is insane. And I don't know, I kind of want to do something along the lines of a muscle burra just so that I can see the whole thing change, but I don't know that I quite have enough to do that. And it would make me sad if I had to like either make it non-functionally short, or the other thing I could do is knit just a plain hat and then hand warmers, but I don't know that I want cashmere in my hand warmers. I could also, if I find the appropriate contrast color, I could do this as like a yoke. I don't want this for my other one, my bow sweater, but I did think about it, but I think this is too thin. So it is squishy, it is delightful, and I'm so proud of myself for that one. And then the last one is my Sonder, and I'm just going to show you all of the skeins. Oh, oh my goodness. These are all my Sonder yarns. I have just over 600 grams. Ironically, I don't quite have enough, I think, for a sweater. I should, but I think the way I spun it, it's maybe, well, I guess if it's a worsted weight sweater, I probably have enough. I think I have 1,200 yards is what my math ended up being. I'm not entirely sure, but, and some of the skeins are a little skinnier and they could be bigger, but I was plying them very late at night and I was so tired. And I was like, I just need to stop. But I don't like stopping. I need to like be done with each one to stop. I don't like coming back and plying. So I just finished it, but all these got washed. What I've been doing is I got some reusable zip ties and little S hooks, and I have some arch trellises in my garden, and I've just been hanging them out there to dry. They don't smell good or anything. I don't have enough good smelly stuff out by that, but yeah, so done with that. This fiber was such a joy to spin. I really, really enjoyed it. Oh gosh. Thought I was about to have a huge avalanche, but it wasn't. Okay. All right, so I think all I have left are acquisitions. So if that's not your jam, I totally appreciate that. I will not be back in 2 weeks because 2 weeks from now I will be in Seattle. So I will try to get footage of that, but in all honesty, I feel very uncomfortable taking videos of strangers. So I will try, but no promises. But I will be back in 3 weeks. So I will do like a post-flock update. But So yeah, so if you're not gonna stick around for the acquisitions, I will see you back in 3 weeks. If you're gonna stick around, I don't have a ton. I've already shown most of it, but let's see. So this one, I don't think I showed this one. I think I forgot to show it, or if I did show it, I want to show it again. So I bought this in Wichita. This is by Knitterly Things, and it's self-striping sock yarn called OMG Pastels. And it is so pretty. It's actually got some tweed in it. I didn't notice until just now. But this is going to be my next sock, unless my sock of the month is coming in today. And if that just blows my mind away, blows me away, that looks more exciting. I'll knit that first, but I think I'm going to do this one next. And I need to cast this on now, or today. Okay. The other stuff I bought, when I put in my order for the Celadon from Wandering Flock, I decided to order a couple extra things. So the first one, I was just curious how this would knit up, honestly. And this was in, is this the baby paca? I don't think so. This is 50% extra fine merino, 30% baby alpaca, 20% nylon. It's a sport weight, and this is Cosmic Tie-Dye. I'm just so curious to see how this knits up. I just think it's so fun. I only bought one skein. It's incredibly soft. But I have no idea what I'm going to use this for. And then the other one, I also don't know what I was thinking in just buying 2 of this, but this is the same base, and this is the hundreds and thousands, which if you're from the US and you don't know what the heck that means, that's sprinkles. I believe that's what the Brits call sprinkles, is hundreds and thousands. So it kind of looks like it's a very, very pale, like blush pink, like very neutral blush pink with these like neon streaks in it. So I have 800 yards of this. I could knit a tank top with this. Oh, I can do like a mini mock neck tank. I've never knit one of those, but I have the pattern, and this would be so soft. So maybe that's what I should do with this. I don't know. Okay, I'm wrapping up. The last 2 things I bought, and I actually bought 3 and I left one downstairs, and I'm gonna try not to crinkle these like crazy, but Hedgehog was the fiber that I spun this out of, and they just have really fun colors. And so she did an update, and one of the things that was really interesting is not only do the colors, are they beautiful, but the bases, like the fibers, are just, I've never seen these before. So the first one I got, I don't think there's a name. Oh no, just potluck, there's no names. This one is 100% Rambouillet. And I liked, sorry, I'm trying not to get the glare on this. I'm trying not to crinkle it. But it's got like neutral, like stone gray with some greens and oranges, and even a little bit of pinks in there. It just seemed like a fun one to do. And then this one might be my favorite. And this is such an unusual, it's baby camel and 18.5 micron merino. I just love it. Like there's a lot of pink that you can't really see in there. But it's so soft. It's so soft. And then I have one downstairs that I'm not gonna go get, but it's like a hot bubblegum pink, and it is Cormo and alpaca. And I'm very curious to see how alpaca is to spin. I love Cormo. It's one of my favorites across the board. It's one of my favorite breeds. I actually like Cormo better than I like Cordale. I find Cordale to be a little bit itchy, but Cormo is like my favorite. So that might be, once I finish this next spin, that might be my next spin. I think I just wanted to like clear, I wanted to do one that I knew, like Targhee is a long staple length. I knew it was going to be an easier spin. So I wanted to do that before I tried something else that I've never done before. So that's it. Oof, that's a lot. I gotta put all this yarn away. I did realize, I was like, when I go through all my fiber stash and I'm knitting all of my, I'm spinning up all that fiber, now I'm creating more yarn. So I'm solving one problem and compounding another. I still have all that yarn that I'm gonna do destash. The one thing that's kind of tripping me up right now is figuring out how to like do payments for that. So if anybody has any suggestions on how, like, do you do PayPal? Do you do, what's the other one? Venmo? Like, what's the best for a destash? If you know, let me know. But it's also like, I don't feel like doing that. I really genuinely wish that these fiber shows would have like a yard sale option where you can go like take all your stuff and either do like the honor system, like you drop off a certain amount, you get to take home a certain amount, or you like everything is the same price and then like what's tagged as yours you get paid for. I don't know. That's probably way more coordination than anybody wants to do. But it would also solve the problem of like adding weight to my luggage on the way out. So I'm not like sending out an empty suitcase. So I can bring home a full suitcase. So you could go out with a full suitcase and then get rid of all that stuff and buy new stuff. But yeah, I'm looking at it over there. There's a big pile of it. I just need to destash, but I haven't had the energy. Oh yeah, there's one other thing I forgot about this. Rochelle from Moondrake just told me about this last week. So there is a yarn crawl across Oklahoma the weekend after Flock, and then the weekend, or it's like 16th through 17th, which I think is a Saturday, Sunday, and then the 19th through the 24th. And so I didn't even know about some of these dyers, but I'm gonna put that up there. Reality, I'm probably not driving up to Tulsa. I don't like driving to Tulsa. But there are, like, I know Moondrake, she told me she's gonna have some new yarns for that from other dyers. And then yeah, there's just like there's one in Edmond, there's two in Guthrie, there's another one in Oklahoma City, there's another one in Edmond. So like there's like 6 in like a 30-minute radius of me. So I'll probably go check that out. I will have just gotten back from Flock. So I'm gonna have a lot that weekend, or that at that point, and I will be, I finalized my dates for my trip to Copenhagen. So I'm going to Copenhagen in September for a work conference. So the first week will be conference and the second week will be vacation. And I'm going to be going to Stockholm from Copenhagen. I think I'm going to take the train. So I was looking at, man, the trains, they're high-speed trains, but they are covering a lot of distance. And so it's like 5 hours or more, like 5.5, 6 hours between cities. But I figured it's a lot of time to just sit and knit, listen to an audiobook, look out the window, enjoy the scenery. I get to see parts of Sweden and Norway that I wouldn't normally get to see. It also means, like, one of the things I was kind of worried about with taking flights is I'm going to have to pay luggage fees everywhere because they're 1 hour direct flights and it's hand luggage only. And that isn't going to work for me. So I was going to basically almost pay as much as my ticket just for my luggage. And then I have to check it. And there was always like, well, what if they lose it? So I'm just gambling all those times with them losing my luggage. Whereas on a train, I don't have to worry about going through security. I don't have, there's not lines. The train gets there like 10 minutes before it takes off. And I can keep my suitcase much closer to me the whole time. So I might do the train from Copenhagen to Oslo, or to Stockholm, and then Stockholm to Oslo. And then from Oslo, I'll probably fly back to Copenhagen, because that one was like an 8 to 9 hour train, and nah, that doesn't sound fun. I think the train from Copenhagen to Stockholm also goes over like a very, very long bridge over the ocean or something. I haven't looked at it that close. I just saw it and I was like, ooh, that's a long bridge. So yeah, so that's the order we're gonna do. I've mapped out yarn shops. I've watched a lot of knitting blogs or videos on shopping in Norway. I haven't looked at any on shopping in Sweden. I need to do that. But I have quite a few, and then I also, want to be a tourist. So I'm gonna go to museums and cultural sites, and if anybody knows of like a good food tour, I really enjoy food, like walking food tours, because you get history and you get to taste things and you get to make new friends. I really enjoy that. But yeah, and I might I really want to try doing like a spa and sauna kind of thing in Sweden. I don't know why Sweden specifically, but I want to, and I'm also like very intimidated by it, even though I've done saunas in other countries. Something about doing a sauna in Sweden just like fills me with anxiety. But also I really want to try it. So I don't know, we'll see. I have my hotels. I booked all my hotels. So I'm good there. I think it's too early to book trains. So yeah. But that will be a lot of yarn. So I'm going to be buying a lot of yarn in the next 2 months. So I'll probably have to kind of chill out after that and like just knit instead of buying. We all know I'm not great at that, but I'm going to try. Anyway, so I will see you guys back in 3 weeks with all the flock goodies. There's so much good stuff this year at Flock. I don't know how I'm gonna handle it. Like I don't want to buy everything and I can't. We did get our Flock totes in, and I had a thought that everyone is gonna have that same Flock tote, and so I actually bought, they should get here next week, little Chanel colorful iron-on letters, and so my mom and I are gonna iron on our names on our totes so that we can distinguish ours from others. Just kind of personalize it. If I was good at embroidering, I'd embroider it, but I'm not. I'm terrible. But I just thought that would be a fun way to personalize them. So if you are going to Flock, I would love to meet you. I promise I will be awkward. Yeah, I'll just be awkward. But I would love it. Please, if you see me, come say hi. I'll have my mom with me. And it's just gonna be a good time. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be all the knitting, all the yarn. And then, oh, I love Seattle. I love Seattle so much. So anyway, I'm rambling. I will see you guys back in 3 weeks. I hope you have a really good 3 weeks. I hope you get lots of time for knitting, for relaxing, for whatever your craft is. I hope you get time with friends and family, and the people that you love. Get some time to watch the Olympics. And I hope you also get some time to move your body, because it's so important, especially when we sit knitting all the time. It's important to get up and actually move. It's good for our mental health. So I will see you guys in 3 weeks. Bye.